organisations. That is an absolute must. That has to happen. And the reason it has to happen is otherwise there's no end. There's simply no end. The British Army and the British government realised that it could not win this. And equally, the Irish Republican Army equally realised they could not win this by arms alone. So both sides had to eventually come around the table. Now, but going back to the border aspect, the border between the Royal Ulster Constabulary and the police services of Republic of Ireland, they're known as the Garda. Although there was not necessarily love for each other, there was certainly huge respect, and they were working together. So both security sides were working together. The same with the military on both sides. Now, one thing that did not work well was, and I think the fact you've got the BSF, you get over this slightly. The Royal Ulster Constabulary and the British Army, and then the security services, so MI5, MI6, etc. There was never really great trust between all of them. So MI5 would have their own agents, MI6 would have their own agents in Southern Ireland, because MI6 deal with overseas intelligence, MI5 is domestic. They weren't speaking to the police services. The police service refused to speak to the army, etc., etc. So it's acknowledged today that the troubles in Northern Ireland along the border could have been reduced significantly had those parties been genuinely talking and working together in a collegiate way on both sides. That's now acknowledged. But of course, that's acknowledged after the event. Just to let you know, the troubles in Northern Ireland are now increasing again. As a result of Britain coming out of Europe, the Catholic minority in Northern Ireland is now almost a majority. In fact, they're level. So the Catholics in Northern Ireland are now overtly saying they want independence. Now, written into the agreement, it's called the Good Friday Agreement, is actually once the Catholics in Northern Ireland become a majority, then if they wish to have independence and a vote is held and they vote for it, then they will get it. But the problem is, obviously, the Protestant now minority in Northern Ireland do not want that. So they are now taking up arms again, and they're trying to, again, go back to the border and causing problems. Now, the border between Northern Ireland and Éire, international law means it can never, ever be fortified again. Not allowed by international law. So the border, you would be horrified. You literally can simply walk across the border. There is free movement across the border. So people from one village will go across the border to another village, etc. And that's now, over the last 20 plus years, become very much the norm. But it's enshrined within international law now that Britain cannot put up a hard border between Northern Ireland and Éire. Now, that causes, as you can imagine, a huge amount of security issues. Éire itself is a member of the European Union. And within the European Union, there's free movement. So it's very, very easy for, and it's always been the case, but it's very, very easy for, if someone wants to commit an act of terrorism in England, one simply needs to go to Southern Ireland, go across the border, walk across the border, drive across the border, because you legitimately can, get onto a domestic flight, fly into England, and there you go, you're in. So we do have a insecure border. Now that is politically causing many problems in United Kingdom at the moment, because we still have those people who want nothing to do with Europe and want to close borders. And then you've got a growing, they're no longer a minority, they're now a majority again, who want to actually go back to Europe. So you can imagine, as professionals in border security, the absolute problem we've now got there. So, but the good practice that has come out of it is that both the police services and security services and the military on both sides of the border are now very much working together. And as you highlighted earlier, both at a strategic level, regional level, and at a patrol level, they are working together. So there are cross-border operations on a regular basis. So the police service, the Royal Ulster Constabulary in Northern Ireland has now changed its name. It's now the Police Service of Northern Ireland. So the Police Service of Northern Ireland regularly has cross-border operations with the Garda, the Southern Police Service. The military, the few military British Army that are still in Northern Ireland, and it's very few, also have cross-border relationships and undertake operations with the army in Southern Ireland. But predominantly the British Army has been withdrawn from Northern Ireland. The fortress along the border has gone, or been taken down. There are electronic security, so the monitoring of vehicles, etc. But I say, European law, international law does not allow for a hard border. Now, we haven't experienced, although, as I said, there is the fear that people can go to Southern Ireland, cross the border into Northern Ireland, and come across to the UK. Yes, that happens. Clearly, smuggling happens that way. Smuggling's always happened that way. Where I live, up in the Highlands of Scotland, on the west coast, is very close to Northern Ireland. And the fishermen of the west coast of Scotland, some of them used to be involved in smuggling back and forth to Ireland, to Scotland, and then from Scotland, the smuggled goods would go into England. So that is a reality. But the public, although there is clearly a security risk, the public has grown to a position, certainly in both Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland, where they do not want that border. They do not want a hard border. So although security services are concerned, the public are saying, no, we're not doing this. But as I say, equally, it's now enshrined in law that that border cannot be put back up. So let's say, from your perspective, that may be rather daunting. And I'm certainly not suggesting that the border comes down between the countries that you're working with. But the good practice that has come out of it is very much that on both sides of the border, the security services have joined in their desire to secure the border. So they work together very much for that. On top of that, they also will cross border if there's an emergency. And in the same way that humanitarian work, the BSF, will very much get involved. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm aware of many situations where the BSF has undertaken humanitarian work on the border in emergencies, etc. Not an armed conflict situation, but very much for it could be earthquakes, all sorts of things, floods, all sorts. Um, Now, again, doing some work back in India a few years ago, Tamil Nadu had a severe problem with relationship between the police service and the community. And there were some natural disasters a few years ago. And it was the police service that was very much seen to be proactively putting their lives on the line in order to protect the public. And in a very, very short period of time, the level of antagonism between elements within the community and the police services in Tamil Nadu actually was seen to drop, because suddenly people saw the worth, the value of the immensely brave people who actually are members of, whether it be the border security force and the police services. Um, I'm really proud to be able to say wherever I go in the world and I work with police services, I regularly meet the bravest people you could ever ask to meet, because they run, as the saying goes, they run to the fire, they run to the fight, whilst other people are fleeing. And that is true. Obviously that's very true of the BSF. Um, but the public needs to be made aware of that. And if the public are made aware of that, not in a jingoistic way, not in a, but in a very subtle way, actually huge respect is actually developed. And that's why I was saying, when I was looking at the imagery of the BSF, the BSF is doing some amazing work. It will be doing amazing work with communities in order to secure the border. So they're working with communities, etc., in order to fulfill their primary role, yes. But in doing so, they're actually winning hearts and minds of communities. And it's about expanding on that knowledge. Is the media, does the does the media want to hear that news, that good news? Um, so let me just I'm just finishing off. So um, enhancing links between police and other agents, I've spoken about that. The BSF, or the public of the BSF, obviously that's building on. It's very, as I've spoken all the way through, is how do we start breaking those barriers down? How do we get local communities to look at the BSF and go, that's us? In doing so, I mean, and this is a question, how many of the BSF cadre actually come from the local communities? And is there a desire to recruit from those local communities? So the border communities, are they seen as one of the targeted areas for recruitment for the BSF, or is that not is that seen as not appropriate? Does anyone have a thought on that? Not a problem. Okay. Enabling and empowering development of border community policing. That's very, very much, very finally, looking at how do we, as large organizations, how do we enable the junior members of the organization to actually become more engaged? Do you have strategies to do that? Etc. Now, my time's sort of I'm wrapping up, I'm finishing now. If I'm more than happy through Amity, etc., to answer questions. If anyone's got questions now, I'll answer them. But equally, let me just put up my my contact details will be given out, and feel free. I mean, we're a resource. I'm a resource there for you. As I say, I have access to good practice from all sorts of places, but I'm very focused on, and I'm very aware there is immense good practice within the BSF, which itself needs to be publicised.
Yeah, Dr. Rohan, yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Rohan, for your expert, insights and very engaging narratives. We are glad to have had you as part of the LMDP journey. Thank you so much, sir.
That's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. For the participants, I think we can all now take a break. I think we can break off for 10 minutes. Yeah, we can resume at 4:32 for our next session on collaborative leadership. Maksud, please do play the break slide. Thank you so much, Dr. Rohan. See you, sir.
It's been a pleasure seeing you all.
Same here, sir.
Bye.
Hi, sirs. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back, everyone. हमारे previous session में, with Dr. Rohan also, we kind of set we got insights to what we are going to move towards. And this is something that has also come across हमारे conversations में also over leadership. जितने भी sessions में हुआ है, you guys have also pitched in on this, that collaboration is a very crucial aspect of any leadership practice. तो हमारा next session, collaborative leadership, हम एक्चुअली एक साथ ही इसको एक्सप्लोर करने चाहते हैं कि ये कोलैबोरेशन एक्चुअली क्या होता है, what it takes to collaborate in your organizational context as well, in the border security force, you as senior leaders, how can we develop a collaborative leadership approach, and as senior officers in your own capacities. So this is what the session is going to be about. To facilitate the session, we have with us Dr. Latangi. I think, ma'am, you already are very much familiar with ma'am. So, Dr. Latangi, I will hand over the proceedings to you. Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Is it okay?
Yes.
Yeah, because earlier I could actually see this. There is a lot of lagging while you were speaking. So I thought maybe there's a problem in my internet. Thanks. Is it Divya helping me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening, sir. Good evening to all of you. I think this last session में आपको थोड़ा सा whatever I want your energy levels and a little bit of cooperation in terms of your involvement, as usual. You always do that, but anyways, this is my request again. Yeah. So collaborative leadership is a word which generally when you hear collaboration, so har jagah pe we do a lot of collaboration in terms of teams and all that. But collaborative leadership, what do you feel is is it an old word? Is it a new word? Have you done it before? Anything that you can talk about in terms of collaborative leadership? Matlab togetherness. That means together you're becoming a leader. But what is this? And what context are we talking about?
Is it sharing of powers?
Yes, sir. It's partially sharing of power. But is it possible? Like, do you think that it's a term which is going to be popular and which is used even at BSF also?
Sharing of powers and responsibilities both.
Yes, sir. Because see, leader has all. He has accountability. He has power. He has the responsibility or accountability towards his team members, all that. Yes. So
Then it is delegation, which we have earlier learned about delegation. It is the same then.
delegation is where you're delegating things to others. But here we are talking about collaborative leadership, that you are trying to bring in this with the other person. Now, who is that other person? Whom are you going to try to bring him as a leader?
Two person of same caliber may be collaborating because every individual has got his own understanding towards one particular problem.
Yes.
So
Okay.
they can come to the best of the solution. I
Okay.
take it that way.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for that input. So we'll go forward to see how we can take it into the system of BSF. And maybe if you have already done this, then where you have really done. So that can be brought up. So we're talking about, how to bring in this collaboration and developing collaborative leadership. So if you're all leaders and this one aspect of collaboration with somebody else, maybe you have done sometime earlier also. But what are those elements that are very important? What are those elements that play a crucial role? That's what we're trying to look at. So each particular element we're going to see and say, okay, how is it going to be relevant in this context? And how are we going to build this up in our leadership role? Yes, so this is, yeah, please go forward, Divya, next slide. Yeah, we have done this. Yes, so we are talking about a team, we're talking about the purpose, we're talking about the process. So that is in between, and then all put together, we're talking about the collaboration. So all of these things are just the preliminary or a broad category of things that we call it as elements in terms of collaboration. But inside this, when you're trying to bring in the developing a collaborative leadership style, what are those other areas that we should be looking at? Because these are broad things. Everybody will be knowing about team, process, purpose, and that we all are a part of the team, and we're trying to bring in a process to it, and with a common purpose. Goal should be common. So that is a common thing which all of us will be aware of. Now let's go into what are those smaller elements that is required. Yes, Aditya, forward. Yeah, so this is, there are some things which actually, we always keep in mind to consider whenever we look at leadership and to bring in this. There are certain aspects which we have to really consider. One is clarity. Then, sorry, the sound coming in.
Yes, Dr. Lathangi, it's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay, right?
Yeah.
The clarity is one part of it. Looking at the big picture together. So if there are two people, then because each of us will be looking at different aspects of it, different perspectives. Each of us will have a different outlook towards some problem. So we're looking at it as a big picture. So both of you should be out of the box and looking at it from outside. And efficiency is one particular thing that a leader should always possess. Accountability is inbuilt in a leader. Trust factor. Trust factor is between the person, whomever this leader is going to deal with, and the positivity. Yes, sir.
Madam, can you state an example of this type of leadership in Indian scenario, so that
Yes, we are going to talk about it more in depth. This is just a preliminary thing that we are just highlighting so that we can look at other things.
Actually, madam, the idea is not coming to me. How can two or more than two leaders be called a leader? Leader will be a single person. He can have multiple teams under him. This is the visualization which I am having. So I am wanting to get some example, a live example in Indian scenario, so that I can make myself clear over here.
Yes,
I think something about PM and Deputy PM or CM or Deputy CM, something like that. It is being referred, but I suppose that an example form of it.
So actually, see, if you look at this in terms of collaborative leadership, if you are talking about collaborative leadership, there might be two departments and one, example of from the corporate, if you take it, if I may quote an example, and the same thing you can think from your perspective in terms of BSF, sorry. So what happens is in a corporate setup, there are two different departments. So these two different departments are brought in together to make some particular project to happen. So one is a process and one is the the coordination part of it. So these two teams together, they have to sit and find out what is the deadline, what is the customer wanting, and what does he require in the meantime. So all of these process that he needs to be understanding. So this is going to be coordinating with the technical team. So the technical team from their end, the expertise from their end, they're going to give, and together they're going to actually produce the product. So
that way it is very much, that way it is very much applicable in BSF, because the we are going for operation, and operational head is someone, but the operation depends upon the int. So int head is someone else that collaborate. Then
yes,
another facets of department comes into play. When you launch a operation, you require a communication. So communication setup has to be ensured by somebody else, some other department. So that way the collaborative leadership are always already there in this.
yes.
Departments
now.
are collaborating with each other.
Ma'am,
And result.
Termed as
Sir, it may
mutual
be joint operation with the police forces, or like any other mission taken by the Army and Air Force together, and in the border area with PSF and the other sister agencies having some operation together.
In our context,
Thereby,
in
yeah,
BSF context, ma'am, this up to now, what I could understand, that collaboration is a teamwork in a true sense. Because suppose there are 2-3 departments, as Mr. Anant has told about intelligence, about communication. Again, they are coming under one head. So a good teamwork, whatever these points are there, clarity, positivity, trust, etc. They are also incorporated in that good teamwork. Again, one leader is required for that. So
now we're talking about two different leaders from two different departments. They are actually collaborating. So what are those things that are needed to look at from their two different perspectives?
So then it is coordination between two departments. Again, leadership is only one. Coordination.
Leadership, no sir, sometimes expertise from two different departments, both of them have to be together. See, if technically somebody is very good at coding, because I'm taking it, it's more easier for me to explain it to you. So coding, technically somebody is very good at it, but then there is some other person who is actually very good at negotiating and listening to what the customer wants. So these two people are two different leaders from two different departments, but they're trying to come together so that their project is actually finally successful. So their goal is attaining that particular project in that particular timeline and delivering whatever is needed to the customer, because ultimately the organization is important. So sometimes what happens as leaders, we might have our own agendas in mind, because if you look at the technical team, we say without me the project cannot happen. So what am I trying to do with this person? He doesn't know what he's talking. He just does a negotiation. So what? But I'm actually doing, I'm responsible for the coding completely. My team, if they don't deliver, then that is more crucial. What he's talking about negotiation is only comes later on. So how does it matter? Why should I even collaborate with him? So these kind of things will sometimes come up. So, but what are those things that the leader should actually look at? So if you want to really collaborate and bring something to the end result, then what are those things? So that's what we're trying to look at. So you have already done with it, but then there might be some situations where you have done very good, excellent, and sometimes you may not have got that result which you really wanted. So why did that happen? Was it because of some particular factor, or was it because of the person, or was it because of something else? So that you can introspect. So we can look at it from those angles as well. So can we go forward? Sir, is it okay?
नॉट गॉट ये जो आप कहना चाहते हैं ना, ये तो एक छोटा सा दुकान भी हो ना, गैरेज भी हो, उसमें कोई मिस्त्री होता है जो इलेक्ट्रिक का काम करता है, कोई मिस्त्री होता है जो वेल्डिंग का काम करता है, कोई मैकेनिक होता है, तो क्या ये कोलाबोरेशन होगा? मालिक तो एक है, मालिक ने 3 आदमी रखा है 3 काम करने के लिए। उसी प्रकार मैं अगर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की हेड हूं और मुझे पता है कि मुझे कोडिंग के लिए आदमी चाहिए, तो मैं कोडिंग के लिए आदमी रखूंगा। मुझे अगर प्लानर चाहिए, मुझे अगर मार्केटिंग करनी है तो मैं मार्केटिंग की हेड रखूंगा और तीनों को डांट के एक जगह में बैठा के काम कराऊंगा। इसमें क्या कोलाबोरेशन है? वो तो करना ही पड़ेगा, वो उन्हीं के लिए तो पेड है।
Yes, that is what, sir. Now the question is, आपने जो बताया सही बताया है, काम होना चाहिए बस।
बट द लीडर इज नॉट दे, वो तीनों तो वर्कर है। वर्कर में कोई बड़ा वर्कर है, छोटा वर्कर है, लीडर तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की मालिकी है।
नहीं सर, इफ यू लुक एट, नहीं,
some-
इसमें आई जस्ट वांटेड टू ऐड वन थिंग। आपने जो कहा है ठीक है, फ्रॉम द मैनेजमेंट पर्सपेक्टिव द लीडर इज मे बी ओनली द मैनेजमेंट, whoever is at of the top most वाइस प्रेसिडेंट है, वही मालिक है, वो जो बोलता है उनको सुनना ही पड़ेगा। बट 3 लोग जब आते हैं साथ में काम करने के लिए, अगर ये लोग अपने मन से काम नहीं करेंगे तो उसका एंड रिजल्ट शायद टाइम से नहीं होगा, या शायद इफेक्टिवनेस उस चीज में नहीं आएगा। ऑल दैट इज गोइंग टू बी इफेक्टिव। सो ये
may I add one thing?
यस सर।
Ma'am, company commander is commanded by company commander, one officer. Likewise, battalion is commanded by one commandant. You mean 2 commandants are commanding a battalion or 2 company commanders are commanding a company?
No, what if there is a situation where 2 people are required to do on one particular project? What if there is a situation where there are 2 commandants coming together for one particular operation?
That's okay.
So at that time, you are 2 different leaders and you have your own strong qualities in you. You have proved yourself and that's why you are leader. So then each of you will have a different perspective towards the problem. And that time, if whatever your boss is going to tell you that this has to be done, if you are not on the same page, if you are not having that, mindset actually to, give and take and then unke saath kaam karne ka agar aapko kuch bhi hai, because maybe some incident before has caused that bickering in you, and this person, this gentleman, somehow the last time I worked with him, I'm not very happy, I'm not very comfortable, some reason. But then the same person you're supposed to be working. At that time, it is always necessary that the 2 leader has to be working towards a common goal. So you know how difficult it is going to be. Because if it's going to be for 15 days operation, 15 days you have to look at him and you have to still be there and finish the work. So there can be any kind of altercations coming in. That you should avoid. Now, what are we going to do with that? How do we handle that? So we're just looking at those aspects which are important and how do you want to really look at it and handle it. So can we go ahead, sir? Yeah, so we're looking at the next one, Vidya. Next. Yes, so these are 3 things which, each of the leader will have to be very sensitive about. One is the respect towards each other, the sensitivity about the situation, whatever situation or the problem that they are handling. So, and the openness, because the boss has told them to do the work. They have the mandate that they have to complete the work, but they are 2 different heads having their own department. They have their own team size, a big team who can do work only on their instruction. So they have to be very much collaborative. If they are not collaborative, then the other team members may not be even listening to what the other person wants. They are all going to be very diverse.
ऐसी सिचुएशन में होता ये है कि हम अगर जॉइंट ऑप्स कर रहे हैं पुलिस या बीएसएफ या आर्मी या ये, तो इसमें ये बात पहले तय कर दी जाती है हु विल बी द लीडिंग, कौन लीड करेगा ऑपरेशन को। अगर हम पुलिस के सपोर्ट में जा रहे हैं तो पुलिस लीड कर रही है, अगर हम जा रहे हैं ऑपरेशन में, पुलिस को हमने उसमें पार्ट बना रखा तो वी आर लीडिंग, हमारा कंपनी कमांडर लीड कर रहा है ऑपरेशन को, उसमें पुलिस पार्टी भी है। सर्च एंड सीजर के टाइम में उनको या कॉर्डन सर्च में उनका इस्तेमाल किया जाएगा, लेकिन लीड एक बनाएगा, एक सबऑर्डिनेट होगा, दोनों कोलैबोरेटिव होगा नहीं। अगर ये होगा तो ग्राउंड पे काम होगा नहीं, क्योंकि लीड किसने करना है, ग्राउंड पे जाकर ऑर्डर तो पास करने हैं। तो उसमें एक लीड एजेंसी बनाना पड़ेगा। जब भी दो डिफरेंट तरह के लोग या दो डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट के लोग आएंगे, तो लीड करना है किसने प्रोजेक्ट को, दैट लीड इज टू बी प्रोवाइडेड एब इनिशियो।
बट इस चीज के लिए भी अगर देयर इज अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, अगर देयर इज अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, तो आप लोग दो लोग हैं एंड दे आर वेरी स्ट्रांग एट देयर ओन operations, they're very good at their own operations, and one is very good at one particular aspect, he is very good at planning, and one is very good at execution. So both of them are very good, and when this thing comes that one has to be a leader, agar aap jaise bol rahe ho ki one has to be leading and one has to be following, in that case
वो मैंने आपको दूसरा पर्सपेक्टिव भी बताया था कि ऑपरेशन बेस करेगा इंट पर, तो इंट का भी इनपुट है, उसका भी रेप है, वो लेके जा रहा है कि यहाँ का इंट है, लेकिन लीड कौन कर रहा है, वो जो एक कॉमन कंपनी कमांडर है जीडी वाला है, वो लीड के लेके जा रहा है, दूसरा सपोर्ट में है। अदरवाइज उसको अपने से ऑपरेशन करना है तो वो सपोर्ट लेगा, तो एक ना एक लीड होगा, एक उसको सपोर्ट करेगा।
yes, सही बात। So this will happen,
नहीं होगा।
Yeah, आप जो बोल रहे हो सही बोल रहे हो। So this is only happening if you have respect towards each other. अगर वो वाला बात नहीं है, अगर सिर्फ ऑर्डर ही सुनना है, then maybe there will be one situation wherein both of them will have a conflict of opinion. So no, I told that this is good, but he is not agreeing to what I am saying, so I am not going to listen. So this mutual respect, that respect for the other person also should be considered. So as leaders, both have equal weightage and both have done excellently well, but they're brought into one particular project or assignment where they're supposed to be doing together. At that time, there are other things which all has to be put aside, and there are only certain things which has to be considered. So one is the respect. The second thing is the sensitivity towards the situation or the assignment that is given, and the openness to discuss whatever is to be, maybe the solution part, or maybe the difficulties that they're facing, maybe the other part of the project aspect of it. So that
सक्सेस पार्ट हमने बात कर लिया, इसको दूसरी तरह से देखते हैं, फेलियर होने पे who is accountable.
हाँ, now who is accountable के लिए sir, now when both of them are collaborating, they have to take ownership. If they are not taking ownership,
वो तो कह रहा है ना कि मैं तो उसमें कोई एक लीड होगा कि अगर वो प्रोजेक्ट, अगर वो आप कस्टमर से भी बता रहे हैं कि कस्टमर की ये डिमांड है, कोडिंग की ये डिमांड है, कस्टमर की डिमांड को लाइजनिंग वाला लेके आया कि ये डिमांड है, कोडिंग बोल रहा है ये मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है या मेरा कॉम्पिटेंसी एरिया नहीं है, ये नहीं हो पाएगा। अब एंड रिजल्ट ये हुआ कि फेल हो गया।
हाँ,
तो who is responsible?
To avoid that, उनका अपना एरिया का स्पेशलाइजेशन, जो भी उनका एरिया का स्पेशलाइजेशन है, उनको अकाउंटेबिलिटी लेना पड़ेगा। जैसे एक पर्सन इज वेरी गुड एट प्लानिंग के बारे में, दैट पर्सन हैज टू टेक कंप्लीट अकाउंटेबिलिटी एज टू फुल प्रूफ प्लानिंग, उसमें कुछ भी चूक नहीं होना चाहिए। One person is very good at handling the rest of it, battalion or whatever, so that person has to take care of that entire part of it without any miss, because see, human beings, finally what happens, that's a different thing, but then the full commitment on that particular assignment has to be there from both of them, because both are actually equally very good, and the organization wants both of them to be handling it, because they believe, the organization is believing that both of them need to be actually on this project, only then there will be a success. So that situation, then both has to actually come together and be collaborative. So that's what we're trying to discuss here. Divya, can we go next? So if you remember, I don't know if you've seen this movie wherein the Air Force, they were on, it was a big mission that the Air Force was taking. So they had undertaken, and they were supposed to be actually, going to the other country to bomb and other things. They had to take care of that. In mid of the air, they found that the fuel was very low. They were not even able to come down nor go anywhere else. The fuel was so less that they had to actually call for help. So when they called for help, the support from down below the ground support, what they did, they had to take they have a system wherein there is another, air, you can call it as a cargo or whatever. It carries the fuel to that particular aircraft, and they try to actually pass on that liquid fuel into the other aircraft, whichever wants it. So in that crucial time, there were paucity of time. They didn't have much time because they had to, the planning and execution, everything was pakka. They had to just go to the other country to finish their mission and then come back. But then somehow what happened is the fuel, because of the fuel, they didn't know what to do. Either they had to come back or they had to, go forward. To come back, they didn't have sufficient. So they had to drop somewhere in between. So that was a really bad situation. So then when they asked help, the other aircraft went there, and they had to be very collaborative, because this person feels that he is going to be supporting the fuel, giving him fuel. So they just go one below the other, and they have to be standing there. Both the aircrafts have to be stationed in the same position, same speed and everything, till the time the fuel from one aircraft had to be transferred to the other aircraft. That was very carefully done, and it was so beautifully shown in that movie, that how they completed that mission. So both were on mission. The person from ground was supporting the aircraft who was actually going on another mission to actually bomb or do whatever. That part of it, I'm not having clarity. So, but then these people felt that they are more, crucial, because if they didn't supply fuel to this aircraft, there'll be nowhere. So their mission would have been gone. So both were on mission, but then it was a different level. So then,
ma'am, may I butt in?
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind.
Yes.
The example you're quoting is wonderful. I agree with you. But the example which you are quoting is a fiction.
No, it's not fiction. It's
not a
actually
real. It's not real. It's a movie.
No, no. It was in US. It was a mission which they brought into the movie.
It is in Top Gun, the movie
Now,
Top Gun, I feel so.
Now,
they can do it, sir.
Which means the collaborative leadership you're talking about, a different squadrons moving together for a particular mission for bombardment or whatever it may be.
Yes, sir.
Has failed mid-year. Has failed mid-year. Because for any mission, the time plan is very important.
Yes.
The time plan is very, very important. It is taken into consideration for deception, surprise, and everything.
Yes.
Now, the moment you are airborne and midway the pilot is saying, my fuel is off. So whatever preparation has been taken place, it means there was a failure right from the preparatory stage onwards. And the plan has gone for a total big haywire, I would say.
Sir, actually, see, I don't remember the first part of that movie wherein why the fuel has gone down, because they were actually very prepared. They had planned everything and they had gone. Now, why that thing happened, I'm not able to recollect that.
Which indirectly means the collaborative leadership you're talking about does not work. The chances of failure are much more if you go for a leadership with 3-4 people or 5-6 people. Independent individual perception is clarity of mind. Is much more in an individualistic approach rather than having collaborative. If you go for collaborative, these are the natija, these are the results. That's what I mean to say.
Sir, in another example, if I may quote another example, there was a car company, a very good car, Japanese brand. So where they had launched the car into the Indian market, and then they were not very successful because as per the Indian market, the car didn't have certain aspects. So they maybe the car size, the tire size, or maybe the thickness, or maybe the axle, whatever. So they had some problem, and with that, what happened? They had to recall those cars. So now they were confused because it was a very massive hit in other countries. So they had launched in other 2 countries, and it was a hit. Now, when it came to India, they thought that everything was taken care of, and then this was not happening. So what they did, they had a virtual teams. They called immediately that car company called 5 leaders from different departments. They called them and put them in a place and said, you have to make it happen to do what we want. This is the time frame that we have. So then all the 5 leaders together, they were all experts in their own field. So one technical and one the machine, one body, one whatever. So all of them together, they were in one place and they finally made it happen. So then they made a report and they gave it and all that, and then they recalled all the vehicles which were in the Indian market. They again redid all of the mistakes and thing, and then they left it. So that's how organizations will always look at it. So they want people who can be flexible and work together and see that they can get their mission completed, because these are crucial missions for the organization. That time the manager, whoever the head, vice president or even the chairman, whatever he says, it's not going to be working. Only tell that people are supposed to be, but he cannot make 5 people sit together and for the 5 people to actually come to their conclusion that yes, this is very important, we have to do it. Now what do we do? So this is what happens in collaborative leadership. They are different leaders of their own capacity. Nobody is less. But the point is, when they're on a mission, then they're supposed to be doing it together. And what are those things that are important for them? That's what we are trying to look at here. Divya, can we? Yeah. So now these are some of the aspects. So we will just, for this, we have some questionnaires, sir. So I want you to have little patience to look at those questionnaire, and then we can have further discussion on this. Can we go back to that model, Divya? I hope you all have the handbook. So the first thing that we're going to do is assessing the environment for collaboration. So, how both leaders come together to evaluate the environment and collaborate together for that particular cause. So this is the first element in developing collaborative leadership. Environment plays a very important role. So the second thing is clarity of thought. Whatever clarity that 2 different individuals have on this particular mission, are they having clarity on it? Are they on the same page? One is more faster in thinking and he's understood it very well, and the second person wants more detail because he has having a different set of experience. So he is not currently on the same page. So now developing clarity is something that the leader will have to work at. The third one is developing trust and creating safety. So both should be feeling safe. Like aapne bataya tha, I think Anand sir or Ashwin sir, I'm not very sure. One of them had said that, what if these 2 leaders and if one is not very good, who is going to take the accountability of this? So, this particular thing will only come in if both of them have trust and they feel safe with each other. If they're not going to feel safe with each other, then they'll say, okay, what happens tomorrow if the mission is not going to be successful? Then the person is going to blame me. He's going to say, no, because of this person, this has gone wrong. So that part of it has to be considered. So sharing power and influence, because when you want to share power and influence with an equal person, then there is a lot of insecure feeling. The feeling of seclusion, a feeling that the management or the higher up or the superior will look down on me because I am not highlighted. I need to be highlighted, but I am not going to be highlighted here. Both of us are going to be in the limelight. So this sharing power and influence is also a very crucial aspect here. Developing people is, ultimately as leaders, when you take in this particular role of collaborative leadership, you're also going to develop this attitude of developing your other team members. Because with this attitude of being progressive in thought, you're also going to have the same thing that you will carry forward in your own departments. And finally, to self-reflect. Now, where am I? What kind of a leader am I? Am I doing the right thing? Do I need to do something more? So these are the aspects, and on these we have questionnaires that you'll be actually doing it. So the handbooks are with you, sir. So I request you to open the handbook and go to the first questionnaire that you get. in collaborative
Page
leadership?
number 87.
87, yes. Page number 87, you can see a set of questions there. I request you to please go through it and it's just a self-reflective. It's only to show where we all fall under.
I'm also sharing my screen in case anyone want to do it from here. Can
Yeah, I think this will also be helpful.
ये वाला एक्सरसाइज तो हमने कल नहीं किया था.
No, sir, you would not have done this. This is
sorry. Let me share the
No,
page
we have-
number.
we have-
Page
I
number.
think you must have opened the wrong one, Divya.
Yeah. Just a second, sir. I'll tell you the
Collaborative leadership के अंदर देखना है.
148.
148.
148.
I'll open that.
Assessing the environment. Is it done, sir? Can you please raise your hands if it is over? Done. Yeah, I think Anand sir says it is done.
Dr. Latangi, there are multiple responses on a chat done.
Yeah, I think they're all done. So we can go with the
Framework.
yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, to the next. Yeah. Yeah, here, yes. So this is the score. If you can compare what you have scored in your sheets. So if you have got 70 to 61, 61 to 70, that is an excellent score. That means you have all the elements with you. You have all the qualities, and this is a self-explanatory questionnaire. So the second option is either if you are not in the first bracket, then 21 to 40, then opportunities for growth. So then there can be, you can look at that option of how to actually do some changes in the way you are handling your team. 41 to 60, stronger score. It's a good score. So that also you can be, you don't have to worry about it. 1 to 20, important to change behavior. So this is you can say a behavioral questionnaire which is used to test if leaders are having all the qualities that are needed, and they can self-evaluate their own qualities and the nature. So I think you can look at the scores again once more and evaluate this part of it later. So can we go to the next questionnaire? So the next one, we are going to be talking about the clarity of thought, clarity of opinions, and how clear are you when you want to really explain to your team members or in a situation. So we have to go back to the questionnaire, Vidya. The next questionnaire in the handout.
Page number 149, ma'am.
Yes, sir. 2 pages later, it is, I think every 2 pages you will have this questionnaire.
I think, sir, it is 150, page number 150.
Developing clarity, this is 150, right? 150?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll have to finally count the score to get a total score down below, so that you will get a please don't give too much of thought. The first time you read it, and then whatever comes to your mind, please mark it. Once you're finished, can you please raise your hands or put in the chat section that you're done? Done. Sangeet sir is done. Yeah, I think most of it. Jitendra sir, Ajit sir. Yes. Similarly, when you go to the, yes, I think for many of them have completed. Yeah, I'm sorry, you have to again go back to the score. In the same sheet?
No problem. There is a scoring.
Yeah, so just increase the font. Yes. So similarly, sir, you can just look at the scores. You please total the score and put it to the end of the page. So the score, you can match this with this result here. So 61 to 70, again, excellent score. 21 to 40 is opportunities for growth. 41 to 60 is strong, good, not bad, nothing to worry about. 1 to 20, important to change behavior. So you'll have to look at what to do and how to do to change that part. So this is about the clarity. Now we'll go to developing trust and creating safety. Can we go to the next questionnaire? Which page number is this, Vidya?
This is 151.
I think immediately the alternate page. Yeah. 151. Right. So again 151, and this is about trust and safety. Can you please put your comments here? Done. Yes, so maybe we can go to the score here down below. Yes, similarly, if you can count all of your scores, sir, and check your scores against this scale that is here, you'll get a fair idea. This will only it will only help you to understand you better, because sometimes we don't evaluate ourselves properly. We just look at it from our own perspective. So this will only help you to understand things better. Can we go to the next questionnaire, which is on sharing power and influence? It's very interesting. The questionnaire also is very interesting. So please check this again, total your scores. Don't give much thought to it. Done. Sanjeev sir said that. He's been fast. Yes, we're getting more replies. Yeah, we've got replies. Okay. Again, the score is the same score, sir. You'll have to see whether it is, matching to what you have in mind. You can just evaluate. Do you have the same perception as what you get the score here? Can we go to the next questionnaire, if it's okay? This is on which page? Yeah, 153, right?
155.
155. And this is on developing people. So what are your perceptions towards developing people? Through the questionnaire, you will have understanding of it. Oh, Shankar sir has already completed. Fast, yes. So that means maybe you have the perception that you're very good at developing people, and that's why you enjoyed answering it quickly. Faster, actually, faster than the other questionnaires.
Dr. Ritangi?
Yeah. Yes, Divya, you had something to say?
Yeah, right. Do you want me to move ahead? Or
No. We'll just give 2 minutes, because just now we got the done one.
Sure, just a second.
Yeah, we have one last questionnaire. So we'll finish once. Let us allow them to count their scores and then tally it. Yeah. So this is the last questionnaire which we have in this collaborative leadership. So similarly, we have 11 questions again, and then the scores which you can total it up. Self-reflection. This questionnaire will be on self-reflection. It's a very tough question. In fact, looks very simple, self-reflection, but many of the interviews you would have heard also that people saying that, if someone asks you to explain in 2 sentences about yourself, just in 2 sentences, I'm sure that is going to be very difficult. So summing up about yourself in just 2 sentences It's not easy. Done. Amarendra sir. Probing and challenging conventions. Okay. Sandeep sir. So is that you're talking about yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, reflection is very vast as well as very deep. So it is not always clear that where do I stand?
Yes.
So this question that where do I stand is very important, and so many inputs are coming from all around. So one has to be always probing, keeping one's antenna, always open.
Yes. Yes.
And one should accept whatever, the things which are flowing in all directions.
Yes, sir.
And apart from all these challenges, the ideas of the earlier world, they needs to be, questioned, and challenges means just to question whether they are correct, relevant today
Correct.
or not. So
Yes.
these are the things which comes in our mind, and not only the ideas of the earlier world, but our own beliefs.
Yes.
Whatever I used to believe yesterday or a few years back needs to be again reviewed,
Yes.
whether I was right or wrong. So these kind of question to myself only. So these are the things,
Yes.
reflection.
I think, each time I remember about Ashoka, the great. So I always have this feeling he was at least lucky that, one point of time he realized that he doesn't want anything. He does not want to continue winning over, other states and occupying all of them, territories and all. He just gave away everything and he went away. At least that he had that clarity. I don't know. I don't think people, people, in the normal life can ever think of what we want in life. What will make us happy? Even that one sentence can keep us very unhappy because we don't know what makes us happy. Money makes us happy, position makes us happy, work makes us happy, place makes us happy, home makes us happy, people make us happy. What is it? So even that aspect of, what makes things happy for us is also a different question. It's a very difficult question. So with that, I think we need to each time keep reviewing our own self and then keep bringing in some small changes and keep doing it. Only that will make us feel alive and good about it. And at least we realize that, okay, this is something where we need to work on. So that's about developing collaborative leadership. So all of these aspects only are going to actually keep you into that real frame of mind. And I think by now, all the questionnaire would have helped you to some extent as to understand where things have, are good and which aspects of it that you need to really work on. It's not necessary that all the aspects, everybody is going to be 100% good or 100% bad. There might be some aspects which you are very strong at. Maybe one which I saw the questionnaire that quickly you all answered was developing people. So maybe in that you're very good at developing people. You don't have a problem in helping others or doing good and making them also grow. So that's a very good aspect. So if you look at that, then and compare with other aspects where in which scale you lie in. So maybe that will help you in looking at things better and going forward in whichever work direction that you are in. So I hope this session was good enough for you to have some introspections about your own self and the leadership style. So any questions, sir?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks for your patient listening and cooperating with me for this session, because the fag end of the day, you're all exhausted with a lot of sessions since morning. So I appreciate that. And yeah, the feedback, I think Tanvi has put it. So
Dr. Latangi, thank you so much for the wonderful session.
thank you.
Thank you to all the participants. Yeah.
Mr. Banerjee, I have a point to make to you.
Yeah, sure.
Not
Me?
to madam.
Oh
To
yeah,
you.
please, sir.
You being the coordinator and coming every day with a cheering face. So I want to make the point. Actually, I was thinking that whether the participants' leadership aura or the leadership traits can be known or not at the end of the program, because you had not given any questionnaire for assessing our own leadership, and you could have given us a suggestion on that aspect, where we could have improved in our aspect.
I think, sir, as yeah.
Please continue. Yeah.
No,
Because I
Dr.
think that he's talking about the other sessions as well, no? So I think it's better.
I think
I'm talking about the total about my personal leadership qualities, where I lack and where I am in a strength position, where I should work upon. After this program, I'll not be able to know that also. What I was before the program, I will after this program also.
Sir, I think we have right. No, I think you're very right. Actually, if you see हमारे जो भी morning के exercise भी थे, उसके leadership aura का भी जो था, उसमें भी हमारे couple of psychometrics थे. Tomorrow, what we'll do is, that was an idea. We will have a small exercise in the morning, where we started on and where we started off from, rather than again going into filling questionnaires. हम आपको फिर से questionnaire देंगे, and then you will have.
अभी तक तो दिए नहीं है आपने. पहले जो सेशंस में फर्स्ट डे सेकंड डे में लीडरशिप की सेशन हुआ, ये पहला सेशन है जिसमें बेसिकली क्वेश्चन या लास्ट तक कंप्लीट हुआ. बाकी एक में भी नहीं हुआ.
बाकी एक में no, we actually, if you go to a participant handbook, there is a space for you. Definitely.
I understand. I have seen I have read this whole handbook.
Right.
By these last 4 days.
Right, sir. Right.
And the point lies is, after reading the handbook also and after attempting the questionnaire over there also, I'm not able to analyze myself. Which type of leader I am and what are my virtues and what are my qualities.
Right.
I understand that.
Sir, I think in your leadership aura, we have a couple of psychometrics, which we were not able to cover also because we had so many deliberation discussions that extended beyond. That was very difficult for us to. And what you are looking for, actually, we had that. So
सौम्या जी, एक सजेशन मेरा है. सौम्या जी, एक
जरूर सर, जरूर प्लीज.
मैं जैसे अपनी यूनिट में हम बाहर से लेक्चरर, गेस्ट लेक्चरर, स्पीकर बुलाते हैं ना,
जरूर
स्लाइड्स को एक बार हम देख लिया करते हैं. जैसे ये क्या नाम था इनका, मिस्टर रुआन जो ले रहे थे, इन्होंने एक मैप दिखाया इंडिया का, उसमें पीओके भी नहीं था, ऊपर वाला जो एक्साइचिन का एरिया था वो भी नहीं था.
राइट, यस.
बहुत खराब लगा वो, मतलब.
No, that is something that we immediately pointed out to him also. Immediately, I think he missed our message. It was a slide, that we did not expect. I think he made a mistake also. That's why he immediately apologized. I think Dr. Ruan was very, aware of that mistake that he's made. So I think that will not be repeated. Of course, we have taken note of it. Something that is very serious matter for us.
What we do once we call the guest lecturers, we tell him, sir, please show your whole this PPT.
Right.
So sometime, means it is not always he is a foreigner or he is from abroad, then it may be.
No, you're 100% right. We'll take note. We did have, I think that was something that we missed out on, and that was a very serious thing also that we immediately notified the change. I think he missed out on our, when we reached out to him as well. So, but we'll take note of it, Mahavir sir, definitely.
Thank you.
So, Satyabrata sir, I do get a point. We'll do that exercise. I hope you understand that it was so many of the sessions. We had such good participation. You guys had so much to say that for us, for the coaches also, for us also, it was difficult to, whatever content whatever we wanted to share, it couldn't be, because even on one topic, you guys had such good narratives to share, so many thoughts and so many practices. And I think this is what we really wanted from the beginning of the program and partnership. We even in a pre-program letter, we had said that we wanted, from the very start, we wanted this collaborative approach. आप जब आपके stories बता रहे हो, when we are also sharing, you will see we didn't realize when this 5-day journey ended. I'm being honest. We are today on day 4, and tomorrow I was just going to start off by saying we are ending our program. So it was so interactive. You guys had a lot to share, and we have actually taken notes of all the inputs. You had also inputs on things you'd want more. You had given us feedback every day. That's why feedback is also important. Even today, we incorporated feedback as well. We have given every day we want that feedback. So we will also try to incorporate whatever you have said and try to bring it, try to incorporate as much as we can and make it a more wholesome program. It is, although I'm being honest, I have to give hats off to each and every one of you as learners at your position while doing your, your regular duties. You're still here every day on the workshop, participating, reflecting, deliberating, and throughout the day. And you still, you're coming up with critical reflections. And I think that is the most important point of our journey. And we made that, because you learn from so many of your own colleagues on the best practices, and you'll have critical takeaways of that same thing. So I think, that is one of the very good things of the program. You guys have been so reflective. All the coaches, they have said that, the participants are so energetic. They're ready to talk about the, bring forth the discussions, bring forth the narratives. And we have taken up so much from you guys as well. So, we started even today, from the morning session, you had so much to say. We started off with, change and innovation slides, the workshops, and so many deliberations, so many narratives. And we shared our ideas on what we meant about change and innovation. Then hamara expert talk, maybe, we had our insights on expert talk, and finally we wrapped up with collaborative leadership. Either also you get an idea, you've talked about collaboration, you shared your ideas as individual capacities, what you felt about what collaboration is. Satyabhai sir, you had a different take on it. Someone else had a different take on it. And from these very different takes, we kind of bring it together and learn. Because if we give you, like you said, if we give you something and say this is what it is, you guys are in a place where you know it. You already have lived through it. That is never a aim to come and tell you this is what is the, you should know this. But we have learned from all our sessions with the best practices together. I think I love that, we have always kept the energy high. I hope tomorrow is the last day. We have the same enthusiasm. We'll have 2 very good sessions for you tomorrow. We have developing a solutions oriented mindset, where you will be, I'm sure you will have a lot to pitch in your own capacities as leaders of the BSF. It's such senior officers. I'm sure that is a session you will have a lot to pitch in. Developing a solutions oriented mindset, scenarios, personal narratives. And then one very important session. आज जब मैंने आप लोग को पूछा था सुबह के एक्सरसाइज में what you wanted to be or what if you had time, a lot of you had come up with I wanted to be a musician and play a musical instrument. I couldn't carry forward that conversation, but it showed, a lot of you mentioned our music because it kind of helps us manage stress. And there's something that day also we had talked about, that at this position, at this, in such a high stakes, way of life that you have, stress management is something that is very important. Even IG sir had, pointed out about a book recommendation on stress. Tomorrow we have a session on managing stress through mindfulness, specifically to address that. So I think you will have a lot of critical takeaways from that session as well. And we will have, of course, our journey recap, and then we'll have the validity session from 4:30. And we will also, there's a news that we are very fortunate. We will be graced by the presence of IG sir himself. Shri Rajababu sir will be there for the validity session. He has shown his interest. So I think tomorrow is going to be a fantastic wrap up, and we'll have a great end to the LMDP program. But I'd like to still again thank you everyone. You've been patient every day. You've been reflective, and it's been a very wholesome journey. So yeah, Satyabhai sir, I hope I could answer to the best possible capacity.
नहीं, देखिए मेरा तो बड़ा स्पेसिफिक पार्ट है, बाकी आप कुछ भी करें. मैं अपना लीडरशिप क्वालिटी जानने के लिए कमांडेंट रैंक पे भी हमने एमडीआई गुड़गांव में कोर्स किया, तब भी नहीं बता पाया कोई. आज भी नहीं बता पा रहा. फ्लैग एंड ऑफ सर्विस में जाके भी तब तक पता ही नहीं चलेगा ये क्वालिटी क्या था.
सर आपके बॉस बता देंगे आपको.
निकाल देंगे.
That Ravi sir, that's a very good point.
क्या बोला? अरे
आपके बॉस बता देंगे.
ये सौम्या जी के उसके लिए नॉलेज
लेना ना मुखर्जी, अपने नीचे लोअर रैंक से ले लो.
सौम्या जी के नॉलेज के लिए मैं बताना चाह रहा हूँ, ये जो मुखर्जी बात कर रहे हैं ना.
जी सर श्योर.
ये बड़े बहादुर ऑफिसर हैं. 2 बार इनको गैलेंट्री के लिए भारत सरकार ने रिवार्ड दिया हुआ है. ही इज गैलेंट्री मेडल
Right.
होल्डर
Right,
फॉर
sir.
ट्वाइस बार.
Right, sir. Right.
तो
Right.
इनका तो उसी से मिल जाता है. क्यों चिंतित हो रहे हैं लीडरशिप के लिए?
I think exactly, you know, there's nothing, even in the program, you guys have realized, हम लोग सिर्फ, we have reflected so much, we have learned from each other. There is nothing literally to tell you guys with the designation you have, with the amount of experience. And
भाई महावीर भाई, सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट, महावीर भाई, यही तो बीएसएफ की विडंबना है. जिस आदमी को 2-2 गैलेंट्री मिला है, वो भी अपनी लीडरशिप को लेके संक्षिप्त है यहाँ पे.
He is a very brave leader.
नहीं, उसको भी अपने लीडरशिप के बारे में संशय है.
और वो कमांडेंट और हर रैंक में ढूंढ रहा है कि मैं लीडर हूं या नहीं हूं. यही ढूंढता रिटायर भी हो जाएगा.
कल का ड्रेस बता दो सर, कहते हैं अजीत सर तो वर्दी पहन के बैठे हैं.
कैमोफ्लेज लगा लेंगे. कल हमारा कैमोफ्लेज है इधर.
हाँ ठीक है.
कल वैलेंटाइन भी है, कल फ्राइडे भी है. लेट्स ऑल बी इन कैमो.
राइट हो, राइट.
So, sir, I will leave you guys to please fill the feedback, and you know, be ready, be in your dress attire, formal, whichever you're comfortable with. We'll have the valedictory from 4:30. IG sir will be present, and that's all for today. Please do provide the feedback, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with a fresh mind. Thank you so much to everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye, sir. Jai Hind.